Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Virginia, and today I am closing out the fall 2025 crafting season with some fall and Halloween crafts using glass as our main crafting object. I show you how to use a lot of the different glassware from the Dollar Tree, but also anything that you are going to put in your recycling that you have used up can also most likely make a really good DIY project, starting with this Scarecrow jar. It is an old pickle jar that I turned into this really adorable Scarecrow flower holder. I took an old pickle jar. It is the perfect size. I was looking for a mason jar, but didn't want to buy one when I had a perfectly good pickle jar here. And to cover our pickle jar, I'm going in with a brown paint. This is the shade Territorial Beige by Folk Art mixed in with Burnt Umber by Folk Art. And once that was all good and dry, and make sure it's completely dry, I went in with some paint pens and some actual paint from Dollar Tree, and I just started to create my scarecrow face. I didn't want to spend too much time showing you how to do it because you will be able to see the end result. So if you want to just copy the face that I did, you'll be able to tell that from the pictures and the video. But this is the part where you get to be creative and just kind of create your own fun scarecrow face. Then I made a bow and I tied it with a bit of this really tiny brown ribbon, and I left it kind of messy and scraggly because, our scarecrow is a little bit messy. They're full of hay and they've, been out in the field working. And then I gave her a little sunflower in the center of her bow, and you'll also notice that I added some eyelashes on because I wanted to make my scarecrow a girl scarecrow. And I completed this DIY by filling it up with some sunflowers that I also picked up at the Dollar Tree. This next DIY I almost didn't include because it actually ended up being an epic fail. That I had to turn around, but I wanted to show you guys that even if you mess up your craft sometimes, you can still turn it around and make something great. I have 3 candle jars. I used up all of the wax in the candle, and I stick mine in the freezer, and then it's really easy to get out the remnants of the wax. These are going to be the vessels for the craft. I also had 3, pretty sure it was a maple leaf, but a fall leaf sticker. I did cut them out using my Cricut, but you can just use a plain old sticker. And I'm placing those on the front sections of the jars. The plan was to paint the inside of the jars, and then once everything is dried, I would be able to peel off the sticker, and left behind would be this really nice clear image of the maple leaf. I've done this before in one of my farmhouse videos and it came out great. But I made a pretty big mistake. I forgot that when you are putting paint on glass and you're going to be doing any sort of peeling, you want to add a little bit of Mod Podge to it. Otherwise, your paint is going to peel pretty badly on the glass, and I forgot about that. When I went to peel off the maple leaf, it peeled off all of the paint and it did not leave behind that leaf silhouette that I wanted. So I had to pivot, and I ended up just completely painting the jars and decided instead of doing the maple leaf with candles inside, I was going to turn them into some vessels for flowers. So here I am kind of pivoting. I did paint the entirety of all of the candles, went over where I messed up with the maple leaf, and then I started accessorizing them. So for the yellow one, I put on a burlap ribbon bow with a little sunflower on it. Then on the red and the green, I wrapped some jute around it and even some vines on the green. If you're curious on the colors I used, it is Crimson by Waverly is the red, Moss by Waverly is the green, and the yellow color is Cashew by Waverly. All of the florals that I'm using are Dollar Tree florals. Put in a lot of mums and a little bit of daisies in that green one. I thought I was done, but still kind of felt like it was missing something. The yellow and the red had some embellishments with the bow and the vines, but the green was looking a little bare. And the last time that I was in at Dollar Tree, I saw, at least new to me, fall rub-on transfers that were so pretty, and I wasn't sure if it would transfer on glass. I know it definitely would on paper, but it transferred very nicely onto the glass and was pretty easy. All I had to do was scratch with my nail a little bit. I didn't need to get a popsicle stick or a scraper, and I really love the fall touch that added onto the green vase. Next up is probably the easiest DIY. I think I said the one 2 ago was the easiest, but this one probably is because all you really have to do is put some Dollar Tree flowers into Dollar Tree vases. These vases are iced coffee bottles that I got from the Dollar Tree. I painted them white, dirtied them up a little bit with some dark brown paint, and then wrapped jute around the top of them. Next, I grabbed 3 different colored mums. We have a berry color, more of an orange, and a yellow, and I'm tucking those down into the iced coffee bottles. The last step, I wanted to add a little bit more of a rustic touch. I feel like fall is very rustic, farm, hay bales, pumpkin patches, all of that. So I grabbed, it's not quite jute, it's a little bit thicker. It's like some brown yarn that I picked up off Amazon. I'll have it linked down below. And I just made 3 very simple bows and then hot glued those onto the front of our iced coffee bottles. I have this sitting on my dining room table. It looks beautiful at the center of the table, and nobody would know that it only cost me $6. All of their fall florals out, or at least at my Dollar Trees, and per usual, they always knock it out of the park with their fall florals, so I wanted a way to display them. I love the amber bottles. It fits perfect with the fall theme. I've actually seen videos where if you have a clear jar, you can turn it into an amber bottle by putting it in the oven, and I think using some sort of like food coloring. But in this case, I actually had these amber bottles. I picked them up from Costco. They were soap bottles, and I had just run out of it and almost threw it away, but I kept it, and I'm really glad I did. I think it has a really nice apothecary kind of vibe. So I cleaned off the soap stickers from it, and then I found my own. I will leave this link down below in my bio if you want to print it out. I printed mine out onto some sticker paper and then was able to stick it right on there. But if you don't have sticker paper, you can just apply it with some Mod Podge. Next is the fun part, adding in all of our fall florals. I had some pine cones, and then I went in with some orange flowers. If you don't already, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll leave it down below in my bio. I always post on Instagram some reels and photos of what I'm finding at the Dollar Tree. So if you're ever curious what the Dollar Tree has out, you can always head over to my Instagram, and I'm usually posting on what I'm finding in my store specifically. So after adding in all of these florals, I wanted to add a little bit more of a rustic touch. And if you guys have been watching my videos for a while, then you know that I have been having the hardest time finding jute at the Dollar Tree. I haven't found it in about 6 months. So I did pick some up from Walmart, but it's just not as thin as the Dollar Tree ones. It's still pretty thick. So I'm still on the hunt. I even looked in the automobile section of Dollar Tree. I know some people said they had found jute there. Haven't been able to find it. So let me know in the comments down below if you found jute in your Dollar Trees, because I'm just forever on the hunt for it. I'm going to buy about 10 of them when I see them because I just haven't been able to find anything that's as good as it. So I did take this Walmart version and just tied it in a bow at the top and then cut off any of the excess. Those are just some of the fall DIYs that I've made in years past using glass, and now we're going to move on to my Halloween DIYs. I'm telling you, I just could not get away from the googly eyes in crafting, and I was also so impressed with how the Dollar Tree gauze worked that I wanted to use it on another DIY, so I went ahead and made a Dollar Tree mummy candle. These glass jars actually held some Costco dessert that I had, and they have made really great crafting jars. So I took one of these that's going to be the base for our candle, and I just wrapped the Dollar Tree gauze all around. I went in with some larger mummy googly eyes, but I did decide to go with a little bit of a smaller one, and then I just tucked down inside one of the many tea lights that I have from the Dollar Tree and placed that down into our mummy. It looks so cool at night. I love that you can see parts of the lights shining through the mummy, and I absolutely love this as an alternative to the traditional candle. Next up, I'm going to show you how to repurpose an item for its intended use. We are taking some
stemless wine glasses from the Dollar Tree and turning them into some monsters. We have our Dracula and our pumpkin. I grabbed these stemless wine glasses from the Dollar Tree, and the first one is going to be our pumpkin. So I painted it orange and also added a little bit of green at the top to be his stem. And next up is going to be our vampire pumpkin. So for him, I added some white paint and took a sponge brush and painted the entire inside of our wine glass. I would recommend, if you want to turn these into candles and place some tea lights underneath them, then I wouldn't go opaque with the white. I would just add a little bit. I also learned that if you added matte Mod Podge onto the outside of these, it gave a really cool frosted effect, and I wanted to do this for my Dracula, so I added that for him. The last step was just creating the faces. I did this using black paint. You could add whatever kind of face you want and really turn this into any monster. You could do another Frankenstein or even a mummy. I realized I had created quite a few smaller Halloween DIYs, so I wanted to create an item that had a bit of height and would really be a centerpiece that you could use for the Halloween season. So I came up with this adorable Boo jar. The glass that I am using is actually a lemonade bottle from Aldi. So once I was done drinking that, I went ahead and painted it with some orange paint. This one is called Vivid Orange by Folk Art. And I also added a bunch of jute going up the stem of our lemonade bottle. The rest of decorating your bottle is entirely up to you and your own personal preference. You could put whatever saying you want on the bottle. I went with Boo, but I think if you paint the bottle black and put Eek on it and did a spider theme, that would also be super cute. Then I used a bunch of Dollar Tree supplies, the Dollar Tree Ghost and the Dollar Tree Candy Corn Pick, as well as some of their more traditional fall leaves to create my whole vignette on the top of the bottle. I also created a triple jute bow and had the jute look a little bit crimped by unraveling it and giving that effect. Is going to be a DIY crystal ball using all Dollar Tree supplies. Let's get started. I saw that the Dollar Tree did come out with their own version of a crystal ball, but unfortunately I wasn't able to find it in any of my stores, so we're going to be making our own using an iridescent candle holder found near the floral section of the Dollar Tree, as well as one of these plastic bowls which I found in the party section. You get 2 for $1.25. If you aren't able to find the candle holders, I think a stemless wine glass would work, or even one of these plastic containers from the Dollar Tree. So to start off, I am going to be painting this party bowl in a metallic silver shade. I didn't even realize what a really cool pattern that there is on this bowl. It actually looks very celestial and really fit with the Halloween season. So I painted that entire thing metallic silver and set it aside to dry. I unfortunately did not have any purple lights or green colored lights, so an easy hack to fix that is I took some of my light strands from the Dollar Tree, and you could take a Sharpie, a marker. In this case, I chose a highlighter, and I just colored the lights in the purple highlighter, and you can see the difference. They really do light up in a purple color. You could do this with whatever color marker that you have. Then you're going to hide the battery pack underneath of our party bowl and stick those colored purple lights inside of a spider web and tuck all of that into your candle holder or your stemless wine glass, and voila, you have your stormy looking crystal ball, and it seems like someone is ready to read you your stars. But these potion bottles have got to be my favorite gothic theme DIY because I used a new technique that I had never done before, and I am so excited to share with you how to DIY these potion bottles. So one of the bottles is from the Dollar Tree. I picked it up in the glassware section, but the other one is actually a container that had some sweets from Aldi. So I'll also show you how you can repurpose that. The same gauze that I used on my previous mummy DIYs, I am also going to be using on this. So what you do is you're going to layer down some Mod Podge and then place the gauze on top and gently kind of push it down into the Mod Podge, and then coat your brush again in that same substance and kind of just gently dab and poke down at the gauze. If you do it too rough, the gauze will try to come up, and you don't want to put too many giant globs of the Mod Podge down. Not yet. We will do something with that later. But for now, you're really just trying to push down the gauze and make sure it stays in place without having, massive globs of the Mod Podge that the paint we put down later might cling to. So here it is. These were some pumpkin wafers from Aldi. They were very good, but I am going to completely repurpose this. I thought the shape was awesome, and I just had it kind of laying around in my craft stash for things I might be able to use, and it worked out perfect for this DIY. So I'm doing the same technique, just laying down the Mod Podge, putting down the gauze, and pushing it in. Also, if for some reason you can't find any gauze, I saw online that also taking a paper towel and ripping little sections of it gives a very similar effect to the gauze. I want the potion bottles to look like they are foaming and overflowing with some substances dripping down from them. So to create this, I combined Mod Podge with some baking powder. It made a thicker kind of a liquid, and then I lined it around the rim of my bottles and kind of roughly tapped it down onto the surface I was working on so that it would drip down. I did this on both the bottle and on the Aldi wafer rolls. And then once I did it around the rim, I also did it a little bit longer. You can really see that on the tin from Aldi. And once that was completely dry, it did take a while because those drippy parts are pretty thick. I went in with some black paint, and you kind of have to stipple it all around the potion bottles to really get in between the areas where the gauze is. And once that was completely dry, I did go back in with a darker gray and a lighter gray to kind of highlight where the gauze was, because once you paint it completely black, you lose a little bit of that dimension. So that's when I went back in with the grayish colored paint. And I loved these stickers from Dollar Tree. They were really cool jewels, but I just knew that it would be perfect for Halloween, very Victorian era spooky vibes. So I painted these black and then stuck these down onto the center area of both of our potion bottles. And after those were done, for the tin that was from Aldi, I also went in with a plastic skull and placed that on the top. This is another one of those quick and easy DIYs. If you don't have a lot of time on your hands, maybe you don't consider yourself too crafty, but you still want to get into that Halloween spirit. So we are going to be creating these spider cobweb candles. To do this, I am taking two different types of jars. This larger one is from the Dollar Tree, but the smaller one just contained a dessert from Costco. I am telling you, the Costco desserts that come in the glass jars, they are so great for crafting. But all you're going to do is take some white yarn and wrap it all around the candle in no particular order or direction. We want it to like a spider web, and you're just going to wrap that around and around. And then I was able to just tuck the yarn in the back, but if you can't, you can always hot glue it down into place. I could not find any of the black spider rings, only these reddish orange ones. So I just took some black paint to them to cover up their original red color. And then I just cut off the ring section before hot gluing them down onto my web. This is a great DIY to do with the kids because you don't have to use hot glue. You could just use some regular old liquid glue or even some tape. And it's so easy, and I guarantee you have most of the items sitting around your house. We're gonna make this ghost jar. I made the very viral tomato cage ghost last year. I'll pop up a picture of that. And this one's even easier. I took an empty pickle jar and filled it with my fairy lights. Then I went over it with some of this creepy cloth from the Dollar Tree, and of course the white. And then I just cut out, using some vinyl, 2 eyes and a mouth for our ghosty.
I did put a little pumpkin in between what kind of looked like the ghost hands to mimic that very viral Pottery Barn pillow, if you guys have seen that. But my puppy decided that he wanted to eat the pumpkin, so he completely shredded it. So that's why it's not in the final images. But I love this DIY. It's so quick and easy. I was about to say this is another quick and easy DIY, but I'm gonna have to say that for every single DIY, so I need to come up with some different adjectives here. But this was a simple one. It looks a little complex with the spider's web, but it's actually not. I took one of the vases from Dollar Tree and painted that black. I didn't make it opaque or anything. I just wanted to get one layer down so it was a little bit easier when I went in with my hot glue. Next, I grabbed my chalk pen and I'm just drawing out what I want my spider web to be, kind of doing like all the different lines, almost looks like glasses cracked, and then you go in, put a circle on the inside and just start connecting your web. So I went around doing this. You don't need a chalk pen. You could use a pencil, marker, really whatever you want, because we're going to end up covering this with black paint, so you won't be able to see any of this writing anyway. Similar to how I did the candy apples I said candy apples, they definitely were not, they were poison apples. Don't listen to me, they were not candy apples. My poison apples in my latest Halloween video, I'll link that above if you want to check it out. I'm just going over everything that I have drawn out with the chalk over with hot glue and waiting until that is completely dry. Then once I made sure it was all dry, I went over it again with black paint. I like to add a little bit of Mod Podge to my black paint whenever I'm working with a glass surface. Sometimes it's hard for paint to go on glass, so just adding that Mod Podge really makes it stick and just adhere to everything a little bit better. To make the spider web stand out from the black background, I went in with this gray color. It's called Elephant by Waverly. It's one of my favorite dark grays. And I went in with a dry brush, just added a tiny bit. See, I got a little bit too much on there. And it just went over the spider web that kind of cast it a little bit more of a highlighted look to our vase. You could always fill this with flowers. If I had some black roses, that would have been perfect, but I didn't. So I just put a candle down in there and lit that. Next up, we're moving into some spooky florals by making a bat vase and filling it with some fun florals from the Dollar Tree. I picked up one of these clear vases that you can find in the glassware section at Dollar Tree, and using my cutting machine, I cut out bat shapes of all different sizes. But if you don't have a cutting machine, just pick up some of the stickers from a Dollar Tree and cover them with bats, or really any shape that you want. You could go with skulls or pumpkins, whatever you like best. Then I took it outside and covered it in some black spray paint. After making sure that it was fully dry, I brought it back inside and I am picking off the stickers. And of course, what is left, you're going to have the glass cutouts of whatever sticker or image you put on there. Love the way that looks. And I'm filling it with some spooky florals that I found at the Dollar Tree. Also filling it in with some of these glitter picks. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know when it comes to floral arrangements, I like to have a filler, a spiller, and a thriller. For our thriller, that's going to be those purple roses. The spiller, whatever is kind of falling out are those glittery black picks. And then my filler, just something to fill everything in, are the black berry picks. I tucked down some fairy lights into our jar to make sure that the bats really glowed and illuminated so that you could see them. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating. I will be back soon with my Christmas and holiday themed DIYs.